Mermaids, travelers, adventurers, magicians. Come and dream with me.
What's going on, everybody out there? The show's just about to begin at 8 o'clock. So just sit back, grab your coffee, and enjoy the show. What is going on, everybody on Patreon? Hey, what's going on? It's Coop here. I'm here to chill with you guys.
How we do?
Hold on, let me lower the music for a second. It's been a cool channel. If you guys want to check this channel out, this is on Lo-Fi and Chill Hip Hop Radio. If you guys want to look this stuff up, it's available on YouTube. It's like a 24/7 hour-long channel. There's a bunch of these channels going where a lot of people just go to these channels and it's just really calm, like chill hip hop. That's what it is. It's pretty cool shit. I enjoy it. hopefully some of you out there, if you guys enjoy the music, can check out the channel. Welcome to episode 23. No money with 99 problems. That is right. It is the end of the month. I am completely broke. That's right. I have paid off my rent this month, and now I start the struggle of this month of trying to pay for next month's rent. But luckily enough, I have been working a side job this month that has money put aside, and luckily when I work certain jobs like that, I put the checks on hold. I asked the bank to put the check on hold for me so I don't spend the money. It's kind of good. It's kind of good. I'm just trying to stay organized, you know. But yeah, sometimes I'm really bad with money, so that's why I have the bank hold the checks for me when it comes to work-wise. But yeah, I am working a little part-time job in a mailroom sometimes. You know, that's some work, but I really am focused right now on just trying to heal myself because I am in so much pain. It's unbelievable. This foot is still not healed. This medication that I took from the fucking hospital, the naproxen shit did not work at all. There is something wrong with my foot, and this fucking lazy doctor just didn't want to take the time to do a fucking x-ray on me and just to find out what the actual problem is. He just looked at the problem and was like, alright, that's the problem. No, this fucking idiot doctor, man. I hate wasting time on going into places like that and then having a fucking shitty doctor be like, oh, you're not an important enough patient. We got other people to worry about. Yeah, I mean, there were other people with bigger priorities. There was a fucking girl that had her pinky was completely snapped to the side. Yeah, it was from a horse. That's fucking disgusting already. But yeah. That's, yeah, there are people with bigger priorities other than mine, but like, I've had this pain for a fucking long time. I want to get rid of it. Come on. Just do a simple fucking x-ray on it. That's all. No. Instead, naproxen, okay, whatever. I'll fucking take this for a month, and it's still in fucking pain. It's cost me money, you fucking asshole doctor. Ugh. Good God. Some doctors out there are just completely useless. Some doctors out there are great. Some of them are just completely useless. They just want to collect a nice paycheck. Fuck. Anyways. It's been a crazy week on the Morning Glory podcast. If you guys want to relive some of the podcasts from last week, go ahead. You can listen on YouTube. By the way, I want to hear from you guys. Would you prefer if I made audio versions of the Morning Glory podcast? It'd still be $1 worth. That's why I'm just wondering if you guys want the podcast to go. Just let me know on Patreon. Write down the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. If you don't want to spend the bandwidth on YouTube, that's totally understandable. So just let me know if you would prefer to have audio files of the Morning Glory podcast. I would love to try and make it easier for you guys to make it more listenable wherever you guys are on the go. Speaking of which, I was thinking of things that I could do for the Patreon thing. I'm thinking about going back to some of my very old footage that probably you guys have not seen or heard yet when you guys have started knowing me through the Patreon family. There are many clips I've done in the very past, very retro stuff that I can relive from back in the day, bring back to you guys on Patreon, and you guys can see what I was like back in the day, like from 5 years ago. And because yesterday I was reliving some of my my early days on Blog Talk Radio, where I spent 8 years 8 years ago at that place, and it was great. Yeah, I've really came a long way, you know, from having an average of 50 listeners on Blog Talk Radio to now having better quality with better podcasts out there, and I only get an average of maybe about 5 to 6. I'm okay with that because you know what? The Patreon family is a growing family, and it's all about building trust with the right people when it comes to the Patreon family. That is that is why it's so important for me to try and build trust with some of these people out there first. You know, it takes a while to get people to get used to trusting somebody, you know. Speaking of which, I want to review some of the shows that I got to see last week. Mellow Yellow did awesome on some of the shows with JoeCronin. He was a co-host guest. He was monetized this. Shout out to Mellow Yellow and Johnny Holes both for being a guest on my podcast as well. Hopefully they can come back on whenever they want. In fact, I would like to do more things. If you guys don't like the interviews from the Morning Glory podcast and maybe want to keep the interviews separate and having like it's up to you guys. This is a Patreon show, and the Morning Glory podcast started off with me just basically talking for 20 minutes to half an hour of what's going on in my daily life. And now for the past week, I wanted to give you guys something different, bringing people on the Morning Glory podcast and get a feeling of the people I'm around, kind of thing. If you guys want something, if you guys want that separate compared to the Morning Glory podcast, where it's just like me right now just talking, and then you guys giving your feedback on what's going on in my daily life, I would love to hear from you guys. So I'm still trying to get organized with this stuff, but let me tell you this right now, the month of July has been fucking exhausting for me. When it comes to now getting all this podcasting stuff back up and going, it's taking a lot of work, but I want to give shout outs to all my Patreon members. So we got Indigo Crystal, we got Rayshawn, we got Urban Heretic 187, we got JoeCronin, we got Gatekeeper Drew of the Drailed podcast, we've got Johnny Ray Sinizter, we've got Nigel James, we've got Brian Sheridan, Caitlin Drummond, FloGrownOG, and RealJimkays. I want to thank all 11 of you who have been supporting this Patreon channel and helping me doing what I want to, what I like doing, which is putting out content for you guys 5 days a week. I would love to just keep doing this like every fucking day. And now that football is coming up, I can't wait to fucking like just. Oh my god. the podcasting I'm going to be doing when it comes to Patreon with football. Oh shit. Sorry, my thing just froze. Oh god. I need a faster computer. I do have a laptop that's coming back. I did get a message that it was something wrong with the hard drive wire, and I think they're sending it back to me now. So it should be back within any minute. And there's another thing. I gotta pay for fucking getting the laptop back. Jesus Christ. Okay, so here's my issue on Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. I have $3.23 in Patreon. Or not Patreon, but on PayPal. I have $1 and something and 70 cents in my bank account. Okay, so I'll leave me about $4 for this month of August. The Patreon thing. Okay, first of all, I want to thank all of you guys for supporting me on Patreon, because you guys helped me do a couple of stand-up sets traveling to Vancouver to do shows. I understand some of the shows I did in July were not the best. I think there were about 2 shows I did that were not good, and then I made up for it for the last one I did in July. So I think that was a much better set that I did. So I'm very happy thank you guys on Patreon for allowing me to keep accomplishing my dream of making the world a better place with laughter. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I have to pay a $120 phone bill. My original bill is $60, $61 a month. That's a good plan. Usually I can call anywhere in Canada for free. I can text anywhere for free. I can use up to 6 gigabytes in data. To me, that's okay for a phone. The problem is, I made an hour-long call to the United States on Canada Day. And that cost me apparently $1 a minute from the plan I'm using on Fido. I would like to try and fight this with Fido and see, like, listen, there's no fucking possible way you're charging me $1 a minute to call the fucking United States. So that is the situation I'm in right now. Is I have enough to pay my phone bill with the $61 thing. That's my usual thing. But the other $60, fuck. I guess it's from the fucking donations that's been going on so far. It's gonna be it's gonna be another rough month for me in August, I think. I will tell you this right now. I have paid off my gym membership in the next 3 months. So I have paid that gym membership off for 3 months, so that means I'm going to be going to the gym almost a lot. Like, you guys saw me. I'm probably getting in much better shape. I still got the gut going, but I've been going to the gym. I've been swimming. I'm feeling like in a lot of pain still. I've been doing this thing for a month, and my back is in a lot of pain. My foot is in a lot of pain. It seems like the more exercise I'm doing right now, the more it's hurting for me. I don't like it, and that's what the weed has really helped me for. Maybe it's all the inflammation that's finally getting out of my system after fucking just sitting on my ass for a fucking year, just like getting angry at everything. I don't know. All I know is that I hear cracks going everywhere in my body. I know my back is in a lot of pain right now. Maybe it's from me doing these podcasting again, just sitting here. Me just sitting down again is hurting me again. I don't know. But yeah, I am going to be going back to the gym for the next 3 months again. That's going to feel good. And it also gives me a deadline of what to do in 3 months when it comes to this Greyhound situation. Because once again, I don't know what the plan is. As far as I know, I have heard some good news. Apparently the government is going to pick up the routes of the BC. All the BC routes, apparently the government is starting their own bus service, and they're going to pick up the routes of Greyhound. And that way I can get around British Columbia. So that's some good news. But when it comes to me traveling to the other places like Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Ontario, still that's up in the air. Still that's up in the air. So what are my plans for the day? Well, since I've done my Morning Glory podcast, I'm going to be doing my football show. I'm going to talk some football, what's going on with the NFL training camp with some of the NFL teams, some of these injuries going on. It's like there's always injuries that are happening when it comes to football, and that is why I still watch training camp. I don't know, nobody cares about how many completions people do when it comes to practices and shit like that. You know, you put them in a real game, and they will fucking and they will compete. You don't keep track of how many completions they do at fucking camp, okay? Jesus Christ. Anyways, it's all about the games. It's all about the game. Pre-games are very important. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that football podcast, and then in the afternoon, I'm going to be going to the gym, because my roommate Brian is back from his camping trip. So in the afternoons, when he comes in here, I jet out of here. So that's 6 p.m. Eastern when you guys are, when I leave this house to go to the gym. Usually I go there for 4 hours. So that means most of the time in the Eastern zone, when I go to the gym, you guys from 6 to 10, that's when I'm at the gym. And then when you guys go to bed, that's when I come back usually. Because by that time, it's usually, I leave to the gym, it's like 8 o'clock my time when I come back. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if I can give some shout-outs to anybody out there, I'm going to give some shout-outs to my boy Urban once again for being on my podcast last week. Go check out that Patreon episode with Urban. We'll have him back on again. I've got to give a shout-out to Drew, Gatekeeper Drew. Thank you so much for the podcast that you did with me last week. Shout-out to Mellow Yellow and Johnny Holes for taking, actually being entertaining for the first half of my show. When my microphone wasn't working. The other half of the show was great. You know, I'm very glad JoeCronin enjoyed that episode. If you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you listen to the second half of the podcast. The first half, I don't know. If you guys find that entertaining or not, go ahead. But, any other shout-outs? Anybody else that came on my podcast? Not that I know of. Johnny Ray, if you're listening to this podcast, if you even listen to any of my podcasts, hopefully you're doing well. I know you were down a little bit. What's going on with your podcasting world? But yeah, that's how the game is. Sometimes you're high on yourself one day, and the next day you feel like you're gonna quit. That's fucking everybody's mindset. And speaking of which, JoeCronin, if you're watching this podcast, keep your head up. I don't know why you want to quit. You're doing that fucking awesome on Patreon compared to everybody else. You're looking at a next fad, sir. That you actually care about this family, this Patreon family. Hopefully that you decide that maybe, I don't know why you care about views so much. Maybe you need a different style. I don't know. But as far as I know, when it comes to the social media world now, I'm in Canada and you're in America. You guys have freedom of speech. We don't in Canada. So we already abide by some of the rules by what? Well, some of us do. Like me. I try to abide by some rules. By just trying to be a calm human being. But sometimes I'm too emotional. That's why I try and stay away from social media sometimes. I would, from what I've noticed on your social media stuff, they keep track of your stuff on YouTube with stuff that they try and give you strikes with. They ban Twitter accounts too easily for you. It just seems like the freedom of speech world does not exist when it comes to social media. We'll put that in argument, even though most of it I think is based in America. I'm not quite sure about that though. I would say, why would you want to quit something that you're good at? First of all, second of all, you're doing great on Patreon because the views should not matter to you. And this is where I'm trying to break everything down into. Is JD has all these fucking views. Okay? When people know the truth behind the person, they will fucking be exposed. And that is why I feel that JD's time will come where he will be exposed and nobody would want to work with him anymore. You could see by when he started this Patreon thing, he had so many people on Patreon, and all of a sudden he fucking treated them like shit, and then everybody fucking dropped. But you, JoeCronin, you've been climbing when it comes to Patreon, sir. And that is to me right now important because these are the individuals that care enough about you that they want to feel part of your life, sir. You can have 80,000, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and only about 300 or 400 of those individuals will actually want to spend $1 to get to know the individual personally, so he can help that person succeed. That is what, to me, is making Patreon so different as a family. These individuals are starting to learn how expensive society is now, and they care enough about you that they want to see you succeed. So that is, to me, you should not quit anything you're doing. I think maybe just retooling things. I don't know. Maybe try and find doing things that'll make you feel happy. That's what I'm trying to do, right? I wasn't enjoying my job too much recently. The one that I was recently working, I fucking hated that job. I have scars everywhere from a fucking kitchen in 2 months. I hated that job. I think we all feel that way too, where we all feel like quitting when it comes to stuff. I feel like quitting comedy sometimes. Like the last set I did was a rave, and barely anybody laughed at any of my jokes at a rave. But people laughed at storytelling jokes. Like people that were talking for 20-25 minutes straight, and then they had punchlines after like every 3 and 4 minutes. To me, I felt like I should quit because I was not good enough as a comedian that I should keep doing this on a daily basis. We all have that feeling where we all feel we quit, but as long as we have that family that will keep you going, and if you care enough about that family back, then they'll show the support back to you. So yeah, that's what I would have to say about that situation. By the way, I have been trying to come up with some new donations. When it comes to football donations, there's a couple of good ones I'm working on right now. But I want to thank all of you who've been joining this episode of the More in Glory podcast, episode 23. No money with 99 problems. I've got a bunch of health problems, got a bunch of financial problems, I've got girl problems that I need to have a girlfriend someday. And I've got a stain problem in my room. I gotta get rid of that stain off the carpet. If anybody has any suggestions to get stains off the carpet, it's like a little yellow stain or something like that. I think it was from curry or something. Yeah, we'll put curry. I did not piss on my carpet. Alright, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thank you very much, and let me know if you guys would like the audio versions of the More in Glory podcast. And that's it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Until tomorrow. Oh, by the way, shout out to Foulmouth Network. Ken, I know we were supposed to have you on, but I didn't hear back from you at all. I think something was going on with you yesterday regarding the family, so totally understandable. Hopefully you come on soon, man. Everybody in the meantime, have a great day. Peace out.